How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back to another edition of CTV Sports. I'm Mike Walsh, and we are stoked to have you back.
Stoked is an understatement, as per usual, Mike. I'm Leah, Cackowski. Here's what we got on tap for you tonight.
The Rams bring the boot back to Fort Collins with a chilly win Friday night.
Plus, 2 cross-country runners qualified to represent CSU at the NCAA Championships.
And a feature from our very own Zoe Weir on libero Kate Yoshimoto, and as always, end the night with us in another round of pick'ems.
All of them more right here at CTV Sports, which starts right now.
All right, Leah, I think it's pretty obvious where we have to start the show off as one event definitely headlined the weekend.
That is exactly right, Mike. And it's, of course, the Border War, which for the first time in 3 years went in favor of the Rams.
Taking the Browns boot back from the Cowboys of Wyoming, and they did it in a pretty dominating fashion, starting it off early with this huge run just in the second play from Justin Marshall.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
And it's just starting off here. You see Justin Marshall again with this big run, 0-0. You see the clock there, 14 minutes. The game's just started. Ram fans are hype at this point, but the Rams keep moving down the field, get more yards, and Avery Morrow finally puts it in the back of the end zone to go up 7-0 with still 11 minutes to go in that first quarter. And after that, it was a big defensive play from Dom Jones to stop Wyoming's first drive, giving the ball right back to the Rams for another chance to take that lead 14-0. And this play got him down in that area with Caleb Goody with the rush off the side. Going down, he thought he was going to get out of there, just gets tripped up around the 35.
And I know, Mike, you're going to be very, very excited for what's to come next. I know you were telling me about it before when you saw it. It's, of course, the Philly special from Morrow over to, we have Dane Olsen to BFN to get on the board once again. Another touchdown to add to the list this year. And then, right again, Rams scored a field goal, but then 53 yards here, right here to Tommy Maher. It is an amazing walk-on. The Hawaii did a great job. And going into this, again, Wyoming was able to score one more touchdown after this, but 24-10 was the final score of this. And yeah, it came out on top. And so while winning the boot was very exciting enough, I think the after party might have topped it all at Lucky Joe's, because right after they grabbed the boot from the field, it was taken across the town.
Taken across the town, straight to Lucky Joe's.
Yeah, right there.
In the hands of the one and only Coach Jay Norvell. I mean, just look how excited everyone is here.
The place was absolutely electric. Everybody was so excited. And it's always great to have, a little bit of that life brought into student life. It's a little separation from the field, but bringing it back to the town of Old Town.
You can see alums saying the coaches when CSU was good, they weren't doing it.
Yeah.
They weren't going out to the bars, they weren't having fun with the students. This is just awesome to see from Norvell.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't get much better than having a great alumni there, bring it to the students, and yeah, it was awesome to see.
Well, the celebrating probably hasn't fully stopped. The score is set in stone. So let's take a look at the numbers. In the box score, it was all Rams pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, to me, it just really wasn't even close.
No.
Overall yards, passing yards we've seen this year hasn't been as effective in the past. They've been taking advantage of the ground game, the Rams. But even so, they dominated in that category too.
Just looking at the possession. That's how you get the rushing yards. That's how you get the total yards. Over 200 better than the other team. That's how you get that with 9 more minutes of possession, 17 first downs. The Rams just dominated in every facet.
It wasn't even a question, like you said from the get-go. Time is everything, and the Rams clearly proved that.
Yep, and with more of pretty much everything that matters. This one was, it was pretty easy. I don't want to say it, but it was pretty easy. And I think the perfect way to end this Border War coverage with beats. Here's some words from the players themselves. Take a listen.
It was so cool. It's just so awesome to give this to the community, and so many people support our program. And I hadn't touched that boot. I took it for granted back then in 2020, and I was missing it, and a lot of guys in this program were. I just give the credit to all my brothers and my coaches, and everybody's just worked so hard to get to where we're at right now. And to just see the whole community on the field and storming the field, holding up the boot is just, it doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't. And I know it's going to be talked about for a long time. So.
And for those guys and most Ram fans, this memory isn't going to be forgotten anytime soon. But for now, let's go to another sport that is making some national news.
Let's do it. Colorado State's women's cross-country team grabbed a 7th place finish at the NCAA Division I Mountain Regional Championships, scoring 189 points this past weekend. The team's top performers included Amy Peters, who placed 14th at a time at 20 minutes, 12.4 seconds. behind Quinn McConnell, who secured 25th place with 2019.2. The team had an average of 20.42 per runner, with the spread between the first and fifth finisher being just 1 minute, 2.2 seconds. A solid team effort in a competitive field led by BYU, who won the event with a score of 52. Besides the second place finisher of Northern Arizona, the Cougars blew everyone else out of the water. On the other side, the men finished 9th, scoring 202 points by the end of the race. The team's top finisher was Lars Mitchell, who placed 18th with a time of 29.42.8. Corey Kennedy followed closely, taking 31st respectively, as the gap between their first and fifth scorers was even less than the women, with only 48 seconds. BYU showing the importance of pack running with a sub 30-second spread. But both Peter and Mitchell were able to punch their ticket to represent CSU as they head to Wisconsin for the NCAA Championships this Saturday. And of course, we'll talk about the results right here next week.
Thanks, Mike. Unfortunately, the Rams suffered a heartbreak.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me! Okay, no.
Robbie.
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon? I can do fireball, that'll do a lot of damage. Yeah, to all of us!
Well,
We're in a 4-foot room!
I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do?
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Wizard. You gonna roll?
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Thanks, Mike. Unfortunately, the Rams suffered a heartbreaking 3-2 loss to the San Jose State Spartans on Saturday, ending the road trip with a second consecutive defeat. The Spartans, serving dominance through 5, led to 16 aces and ultimately a green and gold loss. Despite a strong start, the Rams dropped the opening set 27-25 after holding the lead for most of the frame. CSU responded in the second set with a much more security, taking it 25-18. This one powered by Kate Yoshimoto's 2 aces and Malaya Jones' 6 kills. To put that nail in the coffin, Emery Herman added 10 assists. The emotions running high during San Jose State's senior night, the Spartans would not go down without a fight, taking control back in the third set, claiming it 25-17. CSU continued to battle back and forth in the fourth, with seniors Kennedy Stanford and Karina Lieber helping force a fifth set thanks to a 25-19 victory. In the final set, the Rams fought to a 9-8 edge before the Spartans rallied, securing the match with a 15-10 victory. Colorado State will now return home to finish the regular season with matches against Nevada and Utah State at Moby Arena next week. And looking at the standings, it's going to be really close heading into this postseason. Because looking at it right now, CSU is still in the lead, but San Jose State trails right behind them. Same with Fresno State. They could be kind of a sneak team to get a place in there. Utah State, it's all going to be really close within those top 6 teams. So we're going to just have to see how it shakes out. So, when I think of this squad, one of the first things that comes to mind is the veteran leaders through the last few years, one of which being libero Kate Yoshimoto. Zoe, tell us more about her.
What's up, Rams? This past week, I got to learn from CSU volleyball standout Kate Yoshimoto. Kate made a life-changing decision when she moved from Hawaii to Colorado just 4 years ago to pursue a college volleyball career with the green and gold. However, Kate has done nonetheless but bring her culture with her. Her involvement has been inspiring to all.
I'm Kate Yoshimoto. I am a Libero DS on the CSU women's volleyball team. I am currently a senior and I am a part of SAC, which is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. We are basically the voice for the athletes to the admin to communicate what we need and things that we want to see different in our athletic culture. I was the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion rep. My main job as the Diversity and Inclusion rep was to help student athletes learn about different cultures and have more of an impact throughout the whole athletic community so we can not only know about each other but learn and be more versed in each other's cultures. I am from Honolulu, Hawaii, and I have traveled very far to come to Colorado, and it was exciting to be able to show people my own culture. With SAC, I partnered with APAC and the Pacific Club with their luau. This was the first luau since COVID, so it was very exciting to be a part of this opportunity. In the luau, I helped with the student athlete dance, and they were so gracious to allow us to have an own dance and to be able to highlight us as athletes and also people who want to try different things and learn something new. I recruited a bunch of athletes who wanted to participate in dancing, and we practiced all throughout the spring to be able to perform live in person at the luau. There were a handful of us who were able to go dance in person, and the others were able to record it prior and have the video playing in the back of them. This opportunity was very special to me to be able to share my culture, and a bunch of my teammates who are also from Hawaii, they were so willing and so excited to participate too and share their culture and their love for hula dancing with everyone else.
Moving to the mainland was a huge cultural shift for Kate. Her involvement in the community and athletics has been amazing to watch and learn from. You can watch Kate alongside her team at Moby Arena in action on Thursday, November 21st, as they take on the Nevada Wolfpack for their next home game. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Zoe. And volleyball isn't the only event going on in Ram Country, as Colorado State has a packed upcoming schedule going into fall break.
Living with someone
That's
you
right,
don't
Mike.
know on the
Thursday
other side
also
of the
starts
wall
the
is hard.
Iowa Invitational for swim and dive that goes through Saturday.
Heading into Friday, men's basketball looks for redemption as they host UC Riverside at Moby Arena.
And Saturday is the busiest of all because, as you mentioned earlier, cross country looks to make their mark in Madison, Wisconsin during the NCAA championships.
And women's volleyball has their senior night as well as the last regular season game against Utah State starting at noon.
And just shortly after that, women's basketball takes over Moby Arena as they look to continue their hot streak against Northern Arizona at 6 o'clock.
And finally, on Saturday, CSU football has one of their toughest conference tests yet, traveling to Fresno, California to face the Bulldogs.
And we can't just stop there because there's
so
still
much.
so much athletics going on over break, so let's just look at it really quick. We're going to start on November 25th. That's the earliest thing. Women's is going to be hosting Black Hills State here at Moby.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of domination, though, of basketball here.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
seeing a lot of basketball, but those championships for volleyball is huge.
Absolutely. Those, again, go through the 27th through the 30th. As I just mentioned earlier in that story, they are probably going to get that nonetheless number 2 seed in that. It's going to be really exciting to see that in Las Vegas.
The women and men have some tough games.
Yeah.
The men playing Washington, that's a tough game. I know we beat them last year.
Yep.
But that's still a tough game, especially with great Osabor coming over from Utah State.
Oh, definitely.
That's a tough team.
Being down in the Palm Desert, I think it's Arcasur?
Acrisure?
I'm like,
Yeah, I think it's
you needed to
Acrisure.
pronounce
There
that
you
one. But even having to face TCU, that's going to be a really, that's a tough one too.
Solid
as well.
slate.
And yeah,
for
again,
everyone to be at home, Thanksgiving, watching CSU Sports on the TV.
And of course the men's football, they bring it home
course.
again it's actually a Friday game right after Thanksgiving,
and
Black Friday game.
And the season's strong.
Exactly, so yeah, a lot of things going on and we cannot wait to keep up with everything during the holiday, but for now it is time for a quick break. Because when we return, Mike and I are back with our new segment, so stick around.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back to Fast Break, where we break down all things CSU basketball, starting with the team whose final scoreboard is almost unbelievable, as Colorado State Women's Hoops defeated Columbia College of Missouri 85-28.
Crazy.
The Rams took advantage of this opportunity to get nearly everyone involved for the win. While the Ronzik sisters have been creating their own buzz, it wasn't just the two of them having to make buckets, as Brooke Carlson, Hannah Senemal, and Mountain West Freshman of the Week Chloe Froby hit all double digits in scoring, and the energy was up the entire match. The Green and Gold came out of the gate scoring 21 points in the first quarter and ended the fourth with an added 26.
And when looking at the comparison on paper, it wasn't even a question as to why the Rams came out on top.
Yeah, Mike, CSU's largest advantage in this matchup was defensive awareness, as they forced 21 Cougar turnovers. The Ram lived in the paint, and while they didn't take as many opportunities beyond the arc, they still went in, shooting at 40%. CC couldn't catch a break with the far shot, hucking up 26 threes with only 2 going in. So quite a dominating outing with the season just barely starting. So Mike, what are you starting to see from this team?
I mean, I think this is something you wouldn't have seen from the team last year. I think this just shows how high scoring this women's team is, how Emma, Hannah, Chloe, all these people know how to score on this team. I think that's very different from the team last year, which was just McKenna and
Hoffschild.
centered around her. So.
Absolutely. They're building more pieces of the puzzle where they can utilize young players as well, freshmen, and having more opportunities in the offensive realm has been
and
huge.
I'll tell you, we
team.
haven't had height like Emma.
Yep.
We didn't have like a center in there last year, but now we have someone that can post fade, that can get rebounds, that can do all these things that we didn't have last year.
It's just more variety and not all on one person. They're able to add more people into it, which has been so great to see. But now let's shift it over to the men. So Mike, take it away.
I like it. After what seemed to be a team on fire with that 3-0 start to the season, the new look men's basketball squad for Coach Nico Medved hit somewhat of a brick wall this past Saturday, taking their first loss of the season to the formerly ranked Ole Miss Rebels, who sat at number 25 on Saturday. And the final score of 84-69 felt a lot closer, as this game was out of hand early. Seeing the Rams down by 19 points at the half was almost a good sight compared to the leads of those first 20 minutes. After halftime, it was once again Jalen Lake and Nick Clifford providing all of the offense for the Rams, but in the end, the Rebels' lead was just too great to overcome, and the Rams' comeback effort fizzled away.
Those two really did their best to carry the team, Mike, but if we look at the box score, I think it is pretty obvious why the Rams lost this one, seeing two numbers that really stand out in the turnovers and steals.
Yeah, definitely. With 15 total turnovers for the Rams, I guess those 9 steals don't seem so impossible for the Rebels, but regardless, it isn't good for the Rams, as this team was the best in the country in terms of taking care of the ball last season, and what's more, the team had some lackluster defense, allowing 5 of the Rebels to get into the double digits. So this one was really the opposite of the team's last season win over ranked Creighton. Obviously, this is not the same team, but I think Ram fans are still expecting the same kind of results from Medved and company. So I know I brought up a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
What are the positives you're seeing with this men's team?
Positive, again, this is a brand new roster.
Right.
Completely new. You're having people who, like Ethan Morton, who are grad students coming in, and Ben Bowen, same thing.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, they're just still figuring it out. It's early in the season. Ole Miss, ranked team, going into it.
It's a good team.
And again, I think they're going to bring it back to Moby, and they're going to get their jam going again, and we're going to see what happens.
I think so. I think the losses come against these teams that are good, that are in power conferences. It sucks to say for CSU, but I think their wins are going to come against the worst teams.
Right.
The teams that aren't in those power conferences aren't in consideration of being ranked. So I think CSU just maybe has a year of kind of beating up on the bad teams, not doing so great against the really good teams.
Because, in years past, it's like they did play those ranked teams earlier on.
They can beat those ranked teams,
and it was okay.
Right.
And it just might take a little bit longer to go in this season. We'll
agree.
see what happens in conference, but it's nothing to be too concerned about yet.
For sure. I think last year it was a team that knew how to play together.
Yeah.
They had a lot of time together. This is a completely new team. The fact that they went 3-0 is pretty good enough.
Yep,
So.
absolutely.
But the men will now look to this Friday as they face off against UC Riverside. But for now, I think we have to go back to women's basketball.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. As I mentioned earlier before, the women's basketball team is playing right now, and here's the score. And you know what? It's over.
They were playing.
It was over. Another landslide win.
Yeah.
The Rams won 78-47 against Southern University.
There we
and
go.
as we've been seeing, it is textbook at this point for this team and knowing what to expect. The Ronziek sisters, Emma with 14, Hannah with 13.
I mean, not quite the 50 they had the
Not-
other day, but still really good.
But still
really good.
Still putting it up. And again, 78-47.
I mean, these are big wins.
It's
Like
big
these
wins.
feel really good for this team.
Yep.
Going into conference play, going into even the more non-conference play, it
Yeah.
still feels really good for this
Absolutely.
team.
I couldn't agree with you more. But you know what, Mike? It is time for a quick break. Because
Okay,
when we
okay.
return, Brooklynn Martinez joins us for another round of Pick'em. So we'll be right back.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me!
Okay, no.
Robbie.
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon? I can do fireball, that'll do a lot of damage. Yeah, to all of us! We're in a 4-foot group!
I'm sorry, what else do you want me to do? I can
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Wizard. You gonna roll?
You know what? Let's get right into it.
I think we go right into it. We know what the first
We
game
know what
is.
the first one is. Broncos, Raiders, Brooklyn. What's your pick?
Definitely the Broncos.
There we
They've
go.
been
There
on
we go.
fire lately.
Good
It's been
start.
so exciting to
Good
watch
start.
them. You know, Bo Nix, I've talked about the quarterback situation before. He threw for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the Raiders just lost against the Dolphins 34-19.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders are 2-8. I don't really think this is much of a. I mean, the Broncos just beat a 6-5
Yep.
Falcons team that looked really good. That's played against good teams. This Raiders team has done nothing virtually all year. So I think this is all Broncos.
I think it's Broncos too, especially that they can technically be sitting in a playoff spot right now.
Right,
if they
they
do
definitely
well.
could be.
And like last week against the Falcons, that sealed the
They
deal.
demolished them, and
Yeah.
that's a good team, and they demolished them. That makes them feel really good for this game.
And the Raiders are actually kind of in the mix for the '1 draft
Yeah,
right now.
so
pick.
opposite
For
levels
me,
of, yeah.
I don't see the Raiders even having a chance
I
in this
agree,
one.
I agree.
They have a really good tight
I think
end.
that
but
their bright spot is literally Brock Bowers
Yeah.
and Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. And they have
That's-
great tight ends.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they don't have anything else.
Yeah.
So
Broncos all the way.
Yeah,
Broncos country.
I agree.
The Rams have Fresno State this week, looking to continue their recent hot streak.
I know we were talking about this. It's got to be Rams. It has to be Rams. They need this one. This is definitely their toughest one of this backstretch of the season. Definitely at Fresno. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, Mikey Keene is no joke. He's a good quarterback, throwing 2,400 yards this year, 15 touchdowns. I just think the Rams have a better overall team. I think Fresno has had some bad losses this year.
Well, and again, they're 3-3 in conference right now.
Yep.
CSU still undefeated
Still
in
undefeated.
conference, which
Come
is
on.
great. Boise's up there too.
Yep.
UNLV's right behind Colorado State. But I think with that win over Wyoming, they wanted another rivalry win, and I think
Yep.
they're going to carry that over into Fresno too.
It's the energy. It's the momentum. Brooklyn, what do you think?
I agree. Rams, we're on our winning streak. Our offense is really good when they run the ball really well. Even
Right.
with Torrey Horton out, we've just been dominating. So I
And
obviously
they
have
just
the Rams.
taken away the Fort Air Raid offense,
Yep.
as we've talked about, and they just lean on the rush. And Justin Marshall, Avery Morrow, they've all been great.
Avery Morrow has 872 yards
he's
on
been
the
awesome.
season.
8 touchdowns. I mean, he looks great.
I think CSU, we're all confident right now.
Yeah.
We're going to keep the streak going.
Yeah, I know. I figure I'll take the lead in this next one. There might be a little bias, but we're going to Ohio State
Oh, Mike and his Ohio
versus
State.
Indiana. But I mean, Indiana is the number 5 team.
I know.
This is a super solid matchup for me. I mean, Indiana. I want to cheer for them. This is the one week I will not be cheering for them. I'm gonna go Ohio State. They got the most talented roster in the country, in my opinion. I think Ohio State takes this one.
Guess
at,
what?
At the shoot,
Guess
too.
what, Mike? I'm agreeing
Let's
with
go.
you. I
Love
took
it.
your
I
team
love it.
today.
I love it.
While Indiana is still undefeated, I think Ohio State, it's not even a question. They're one of the best offensive
For
teams
sure.
in the entire country, and they're favored by a lot, almost
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. So I think it's no question Ohio
Indiana
State.
looks really good, so I don't feel like that favoring is really.
No.
I don't know.
I'm going to have to
Brooklyn? Yeah,
disagree
let's
with
see.
both of you. I'm
okay.
taking Indiana.
their coach is just amazing.
he's awesome.
Also, their offense, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm going to have to go Indiana, though. But I will say Ohio has a really good defensive line. So we're going to have to look out for Jack Sawyer and Tyleek Williams.
For sure. I mean, I'm just looking at like games that the teams have played.
Right.
Ohio State had a tough time against Nebraska. Indiana destroyed Nebraska. So I guess if you're looking for arguments for Indiana, they're definitely there. I just think when you're going into the shoe, it's a 12 o'clock kickoff, which we know all Ohio State fans
Up since
love.
3:30 in the morning.
They love the 12 o'clock kickoff. So I just think in the shoe, there's no way Indiana comes into the shoe and beats Ohio
That's
State.
why, especially number 2 team in the country.
Right, I know they're number 5. They look really good.
Yeah.
Kurt, you're right. Kurt Signetti, love cheering for the guy. Awesome coach. He literally does win everywhere he goes. I don't think he wins this weekend.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Mike. But
Yeah,
there's
we'll
two
see.
teams that we don't mention very often, but I
never
feel
mention
that
these
they need to be
teams.
brought up this week, and
Agreed.
it's Notre Dame and Army.
I mean, these are 2 good teams we don't talk about enough.
No, not
I
enough
think
at
we should
all.
say Army is a surprising one.
They are.
Army
They're also
is
undefeated.
Undefeated.
Yes.
You never see this from a team like Army. You always see Notre Dame. They've been in the playoff.
Right.
They always have a good record, but you never see Army in this game. With that being said, though, I still got to go Notre Dame. I just think this is where Army's undefeated season ends. I think this is easily the best team they've played, so I'm
This
gonna go
is
Notre
the
Dame.
first top 50 defense that they have faced
Exactly,
yet
yep.
so far in top 75 offense. So for me, it's no question that it's Notre Dame. They're also at home, so I think they're going to run away with it. You know, they have one of the best quarterbacks too, this year so far, and I just don't see Army coming in and blowing it out of the water.
You got another?
Gonna have to disagree again. So I think for Army, their quarterback Bryson Daly, he's performed so amazing with 1,062 rushing yards and 644 passing yards. So I think he's really gonna save them. And then corner Jaden Mays with 3 interceptions and 15 tackles.
Again, that's just, to me, it just feels like a game that's just like conference-wise, power conference-wise. This team seems like a lot better than the other team. But, you know, Army's surprising everyone. Their 9-0 record surprised everyone. They could easily surprise
And
everyone.
Daly, he only has 1 interception on the year, too, so he's
super
smart.
efficient. Yep.
He's a great playmaker, but I just think Notre Dame on this one.
I want to go Army. You know, you want to root for Army, but I just think if you're going Pick'em's records here, I got to go
It's going down the way. We don't have much time left to catch up ground. Mike's in the lead.
Notre Dame.
Speaking of teams we don't mention very often, let's talk BYU and Arizona State. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go BYU on this one. I know Arizona has been doing pretty well, better than they thought, but for me, you know, they did just lose to Kansas, which was pretty, their winning streak also just got snapped by that. But their quarterback had a really bad game, and I just think with this, they're going on the road, and I think this is a chance for them to prove, because they're kind of in a tight spot right now in conference if they lose this. They're ranked 14th. This is a must-win for them, so I'm going to go BYU.
I think people were trying and starting to put BYU into the, with the first college football playoff being released, projection, BYU is in the top 4.
And they're not
so
anymore.
This loss completely takes them out. If they would have lost to a top 10 ranked team, different story. You lose to an unranked Kansas team. No one was watching this game. No one knows what happened. You just lost to Kansas.
Yep.
It really hurts BYU. I still got to take them over Arizona State, though.
Yeah.
I think Arizona State hasn't been consistent.
We're just agreeing tonight, Mike.
They haven't been consistent enough all year. BYU has. They just had one bad night game, just random. I think they win out the rest of their season. I think that was just a tough game. I'll go BYU. Another one.
Another one. I feel like this is an upset game. It's going to be a very good game.
Oh, yeah.
But ASU's coming off that great win against Kansas State,
K-State.
24-14. So, and their wide receivers, Jake Smith and Jordan Tyson, they're hard to get down when the ball's in their hands.
Yeah.
So.
And look, they got a great running back.
They have a great.
I think that'll be a great game.
Over 1,000 yards.
He looks good. 11 touchdowns.
11.
I'm not saying this Arizona State team is bad. I just think BYU, from a conference playoff standpoint, they need this win more, and I think they get that win.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Mike.
But to end things out, let's throw some basketball into this, you know, with the matchup we've already been talking about. But the Rams have UC Riverside this weekend. What do you think?
Again, I have to go Colorado State on this. We were just talking about, they played a tough Ole Miss, and they were on the road. But they're bringing home UC Riverside, but also you don't want to take them for granted necessarily.
No, I mean, this is a decent team.
They had 2 really, really close losses to Oregon and BYU.
Both good teams.
Both really good teams. They have a really, really good guard. Hargress, he's only 6 foot, so kind of like an Isaiah Stevens kind of a guy.
Yep.
Averaging 19.2 points per game.
I love his first name, Barrington.
Yeah,
what a
cool name.
I love that.
But for me, I just have to go Colorado State. Neek and Jalen Lake, they're they're doing their thing
Yeah.
like we've been seeing. But Brooklyn, I want to know, you coming into this, what are we thinking about?
Disagreeing?
I have
or-
CSU.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
Thank goodness.
I
Love
do.
it.
Okay.
Love
Like you said, Jalen, Lake, and Kine Evans, they've been performing so well and putting
Yep.
up so much points for the Rams. And of course, Nate Clifford
Yep.
with the shooting percentage of 52.6%
Yeah.
from the field and 75.9 at the free throw line. I feel like the Rams are going to bring home a win.
I think the big thing in this is going to be height.
Yep.
It's going to be if Jorgensen's okay to play. It's going to be if
Yep.
Crocker Johnson's okay to play.
Absolutely.
Which I think they should be. Crocker Johnson has some foul issues, and Jorgensen had like a
weird-
knee thing, but
Yeah,
he played.
But he's okay
He
though.
played on Saturday,
Yeah.
so I think just the height is what we need. And if
Yep.
we don't have those guys playing well, this could be a game that
Could be
CSU
closer.
loses, and it hurts them for the rest of the season.
This, again, if they want to really go into this,
They need to win all these games.
they do.
Yeah.
And especially in these non-conference games
Right.
and at home
Yeah.
at Moby
like
Arena.
you can lose non-conference to good teams. You cannot
Not to
lose it
bad
to a
teams.
team called UC Riverside.
No.
You cannot do it.
No, especially with the reputation that Colorado State has brought on, and with Nate Clifford just having such a presence,
Exactly.
I think.
And this is Nico Medved's. This is his plan.
Yeah.
He schedules these teams that he thinks are going to be ranked, but he thinks that the team could beat.
Yep.
That's what the Ole Miss game was. Obviously, they couldn't do it. So I think now you just have to focus on just the home
Like
games.
see that good early on,
Yeah.
and then all right, back in the groove.
Yeah.
See what they can do as a new
beat
team.
these teams that you should
Yep.
beat every time.
I couldn't agree with you more. But you know what, Ram fans? That's unfortunately all we have for you tonight. So stay safe and have a great rest of your week.